Hello and welcome back. For the next couple of videos we'll be taking a bit of a break from the dungeon again and I'm moving on to some wilderness terrain. And to start things off we'll be making some trees, just like the ones you can see here. So now you've got a rough idea of the kind of thing we're going to be aiming for, let's get started. Okay then, the first thing we're going to need are a variety of drinking straws. So the one on the right is a large milkshake straw, in the middle is a regular sized one, and on the left is a type you sometimes get with a small carton of juice. Then we'll need to cut out enough of the wood texture to wrap around the straw, but before we glue it in place, it's best to rough up the straw's surface with some sandpaper first, just so that we get a better adhesion. Then it's just a matter of gluing the texture in place, like so. And we'll also do exactly the same for the other two straws. Okay, so we'll set those aside to dry and move on to the leaves. So for this part we'll need to print out one of the leaf patterns and we're going to glue that to some thin cardboard. Though you will notice that I've included a few different colour variations for these, so just pick whichever one you like best or mix and match them however you like. And the last thing we need to get ready is the base. So all we're going to do here is glue some of the floor texture to a piece of single corrugated cardboard. And I have provided both a plain and a gridded version of this one, so once again, just use whichever one you prefer. Okay, so once everything's been given a good 10 minutes or so to dry, we can take the larger of the three straws, which is going to form our tree trunk, and trim that to a suitable height. And as you can see, I've gone with around 4.5 inches for this one, but anywhere between 3 and 5 will do. Next, we'll take the regular size straw, which we'll be using for some of the branches, and cut one end off at an angle. Then we can place that against the trunk, decide how long we want the branch to be, and then cut the other end so that it's perpendicular to the trunk itself. So something a bit like that. Then all we need to do is make a few more of these, all cut at slightly different angles and different lengths, and then do exactly the same thing with the smaller straw. Okay, so now we've got all the branches cut to size, it's time to start hot gluing them to the trunk. So we'll start things off by gluing one of the regular size straws about a third of the way up the trunk. So something like this. Then we'll do the same thing with all the other branches, though we will try to keep the larger ones towards the bottom and all the smaller ones towards the top. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is to try and arrange the branches so that all of the ends are at different heights to one another. This will just make things look a bit better when we apply the leaf pattern later. So there's the last of the branches glued into place, and this is what it should look like at this stage. Okay, so now it's time to add some leaves. And for this part, we'll just need to cut out an irregular shape from the leaf pattern, so something like that. And once we're happy that we've got something that's big enough to be glued to both the end of the branch and the trunk itself, we can then start cutting a few notches around the edges, just to give it more of a leafy appearance. So something like that. Then we can simply glue it in place. So here I am just trying to make a mental note of where the texture meets the trunk, and once I'm happy with that, I'll add some hot glue to that spot, and also to the end of the branch itself, and then stick it all together. And once it's dry, it should end up looking something like this. Okay then, so now we just need to do exactly the same thing for all of the other branches. So I'll really speed this part up, as it's a bit of a repetitive process to be honest, and I'm sure you don't need to see me do the exact same thing over and over again. So here you can see me finishing off the last branch, and then I'll do a similar thing for the top of the trunk. And there we go. So now that all that's done, we should end up with something that looks like this. And as you can see, we're almost done now, and the only thing that's left to do is make the base. So for this part, it helps if you've got something circular to draw around, and obviously, the larger the tree, the bigger the base will need to be. So I'll go ahead and cut out this circle I've just drawn with a sharp pair of scissors. So something like that. There we go. And all we need to do then is apply plenty of hot glue to the inside of the trunk and glue it to the centre of the base. And we're done. There's our finished tree. So yeah, obviously these aren't going to look as nice as store-bought model trees, but they do have lots of flat surfaces where we can balance our models, that's kind of the main idea behind these. Anyway, as you can see, I've gone ahead and made a whole bunch of them myself, and in this picture here, you can also see how the branches will even support a metal miniature quite easily. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope this one's been of interest, and if you have found it useful, I'd be grateful if you hit the like button and all that other good stuff. But that's it for now, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.